Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today, bringing you guys and gals Hunter x Hunter. Oh man, Hisoka is on the back foot. He's been duped. Chrollo, he's amongst the crowd, hiding, and he's waiting and wait for the right opportunity to actually strike Hisoka. We have ourselves a situation where we did not know the true nature of sun and moon, which if the symbols are fixed on even a gallery fake puppet, because the symbols themselves do not go away until they have detonated, the puppets themselves do not go away. And it's like, oh, wow, Chrollo. So the entire time during this battle, during this chapter, because Hisoka had one on the head of the gallery fake puppets, and he used it as like pretty much like a chain and ball. And it's pretty cool to find out that like the weight of the head was around 7 to 8 kilograms, which is 1 kilogram is like 2.2 pounds. So that's like 18 some odd pounds. So the fact of the matter here is that you have Hisoka, who seemingly is on the offensive, able to actually pinpoint where Chrollo is among the crowd, because he knew that Chrollo was going to try and continue to make gallery fake puppets. So he knows that when people are going to see Chrollo, they're going to freak out. So he waits for that chance, he sees that freak out, he runs towards there, and you see them have like this kind of cat and mouse chase, where Chrollo is running away from Hisoka, and yet you don't see the bandit's secret or his other hand. It's hidden. So then Hisoka is starting to think, okay, so gallery fake is still up. It's still on there. But what if he actually has the black voice up, where he has the antenna on one hand and the phone on the other hand, and he's trying to, stab me with that, so I can't rush in there. So here he is playing very cautious, able to actually tie the bungee gum to Chrollo's leg. But at that moment, he finds out, wait a second, hold on. That's not Chrollo. And not only is it someone else, but they're being controlled by a black voice needle, a black voice antenna. So that means that because not only was that person created via convert hands, but also he had to use another Nen ability, the black voice, to control that person. So that should be impossible with gallery fake up, because he has the gallery fake puppet head on his ball and chain bungee gum thing going on. But then he comes to find out, oh wait, no, sun and moon. So this means that we can assume that this applies to the vast majority, or at least some of the puppets. They have one of the symbols of sun and moon are affixed on each of the puppets, which means that the puppets themselves will not disappear. So that whole thing was basically Chrollo's way of tricking Hisoka to believing that he had to use one ability, given the fact that gallery fake was still up, not knowing that he's actually using two abilities, because sun and moon allows the gallery fake puppets to still exist. That's whoa. I mean, Chrollo is good. I mean, he's honestly unfair. He really is unfair, because he has so many abilities at his disposal, and we've only seen a handful of them. Understand that with the bandit secret, he has so many more abilities that he's not shown off yet. So the fact of the matter here is that Hisoka, yes, he's clever, but because of just the sheer number of abilities that Chrollo has at his disposal, he is at a massive, I can't say the words. He is at a massive disadvantage. There we go. So that being said, let's get to the other details of this chapter. First and foremost, we do have the characterization where nothing changes, with the exception of knowing, and this is major for the abilities of Chrollo, knowing that when a gallery fake puppet is affixed with the sun and moon, or one of the two symbols, because the symbols will always remain as long as they do not detonate, the gallery fake puppets themselves also remain. So Chrollo is combining gallery fake and sun and moon in a very devious way, because that fooled Hisoka, and it's very hard to fool Hisoka. We all know that for a fucking fact. That's very important, because this changes the fight, because now Hisoka has lost sight of Chrollo. Chrollo has blended in very well, And don't be surprised if this winds up turning out to be a battle of attrition, wherein which she's going to keep on sending out gallery fake puppets that are either controlled by the order stamp or maybe some by a black voice, and they're a little more harder to read. And on top of that, he can still also use the convert hands to make more double gangers of himself. So when it came to that one person that Hisoka thought was Chrollo, that person, because they're being controlled by the black voice, and Chrollo could give more specific orders. One of the major orders must have been, alongside with hide both of your hands, must have been also evade. Because you can see that the fake Chrollo wasn't even attacking Hisoka. He was just dodging. And Hisoka assumed that he was on the defensive because him being able to actually harm Chrollo by using the two heads like a chain and ball with the Bungee Gum, that kind of threw a monkey wrench in Chrollo's plans. He assumed that Chrollo was on the defensive, but in actuality, it kind of seems like this was all a part of Chrollo's plan, if you would, to where he gave Hisoka a false sense of, I guess, I want to say victory, because Hisoka believed that he was on the offensive. He was still, backing off. He was still some distance away, but he believed that Chrollo was on the defensive, and Hisoka, he was on the offensive. So in a sense, a false sense of security. And then finally, Hisoka catches him with the Bungee Gum, but then realizes, oh shit, no, it's not him. So this actually could have been all a part of Chrollo's plan. Even taking the hits could have been a part of Chrollo's plan. So we're not too sure, because again, Chrollo, he's in the crowd right now. He's blended in. Like, you can't see him, fucking Nimpo. He's in there. So it's crazy. So that's characterization. Now, when it comes to the chapter structure and the pacing, overall, that was relatively fine. Again, there is a lot of dialogue in Hunter x Hunter chapters. That is no surprise. Even in combat-based Hunter x Hunter chapters, there's going to be a lot of dialogue. Fact of the matter here is that we have Hisoka at the beginning of the chapter. He seems to be on the offensive. He seems to be the one that is winning in this mind game situation. And he's even able to actually deduce that if he kills the gallery fake puppets, then Chrollo no longer needs to have the bookmark on order stamp. So what he does is that he actually cuts off one of the arms of a gallery fake puppet, and then he subdues it. By then, he's able to figure out what Chrollo's gonna do after that. Either he gives new orders to the puppets, or he removes order stamp completely, and then he does something else, which he does. But again, Hisoka thought that gallery fake was still up, but he failed to realize that when it comes to the puppets, they're there because Sun and Moon is affixed to the puppets as well. So Hisoka, he's able to deduce all these things, and he, for the most part, was correct, but at the same time, he was misled by Chrollo. So you see that play out, and then finally you see the end, where he realizes, oh wait, that's not Chrollo, and now he, who was the predator, has now become the prey once again. And the real predator, Chrollo, is hiding amongst the bushes, waiting for the right time to strike. So the pacing overall, it was fairly well structured, because you do get an honest to earnest scope of everything that's occurring in these, I guess, few seconds, because it's not going for that long, I believe. From a time frame, it does not seem to be that much time. I would say like a minute or two at most. So that's, for the most part, the structure and the pacing. Again, the dialogue does help with that, because actually, I would say this. Because the dialogue in combat-based Hunter x Hunter chapters is not that much compared to, let's say, a Jin and Pariston chapter, where it's just laced with dialogue. I mean, we're talking about like a 1,000-page novel. It just goes on and on. It's like, dude, because the dialogue is not that much, and it's mainly focused on just the mindset of Hisoka, it does make the chapter structure a lot more straightforward, and it does make it easier to perceive, because for the most part, that the dialogue is mainly focused on the here and now in combat. Where with Jin and Pariston, those two, Jin and Pariston, their dialogue is extensive, and it talks about a whole range of different things in massive detail, in like 20 some odd pages. Like, dude, like, it's unbelievable sometimes. So that being said, because once again, this is a combat oriented chapter, and the dialogue is not that much compared to other chapters of Hunter x Hunter, this chapter, I think, does have better structure, where again, it is going to be easier for folks to perceive what's going on in this chapter. And ultimately, the reason why this chapter review is going to be probably under 20 minutes, as opposed to the previous Hunter x Hunter chapter reviews that I've done, where they've been like 46 some odd minutes. Because again, Jin and Pariston, they talk about so many different things at detail and at nauseum. So, finally, we have the story progression. There's nothing really there, because the fight is still going on, mind you. But it's just a shift, if you would, it is a shift in who's on top. Where it was Chrollo, then Hisoka came back, and then he was being devious. And then Hisoka, he was the aggressor, and then winds up changing at the end of the chapter to where now it's Chrollo who's the aggressor. Or it's Chrollo who is now on top. He has utilized Sun and Moon, where much not even Hisoka knew that the puppets could stay because the Sun or Moon symbol has been affixed to them. And because the Elder in Meteor City had died, that then is stronger. And it stays there as long as the symbols themselves do not detonate. So that is a very important thing to note. This gives Chrollo essentially what it is. He can utilize, if you're including the Bandit Secret and the Double Face, the bookmark, not only can he use two other abilities, but also Gallery Fake stays. Gallery Fake can maintain itself because of the Sun and Moon symbols. So he can basically have 5 abilities active at once, which is massively unfair. But I'm telling you, Hisoka, he's going to find a way. In my personal opinion, Hisoka, I think, is going to win. The fact that we're getting Hisoka's internal monologues and dialogue, and the fact that we are predominantly focusing on Hisoka as opposed to Chrollo, that in of itself, I think, leads me to believe that Hisoka is going to win, or the fight is going to be postponed or changed via some way, shape, or form. Like, neither of them will die, but there'll be a rematch at some point in the future. Either that or Hisoka just wins. I highly doubt that Chrollo is going to kill Hisoka. Again, I have to point to just who Togashi has chose to focus on when it comes to this fight. Now, let's say, for example, that he shifts gears, and now we do follow Chrollo's internal monologues, and we get Chrollo stuff. Then I'm like, okay, so you know what? Now I have no idea. Now I just don't know. I have zero idea. So the fact of the matter here is that at this point in time, I am on Hisoka's side. But that could change depending on how Togashi orchestrates this fight. So that being said, I think it is a great plus chapter. This was a fairly shocking change of events in the fight itself. Knowing that Sun and Moon could be affixed on the puppets, and the puppets themselves stay. Which is why he was so confused. Which is why the entire time Hisoka was making the assumptions on Chrollo using one power at a time, because he had the Galactic puppet in his hand, the head of one puppet, but never realizing that Chrollo was actually using 2, which is why he had the convert hands and the black voice for that one doppelganger of Chrollo. Also, this does broaden the characterization a bit for Chrollo, because we find out that he's able to combine his powers in very strange and very effective ways. And also understand that when it comes to the chapter rating, it's going to be higher in of itself because the events within these chapters are major to the overall story. When you have Hisoka and Chrollo, major players in the Hunter x Hunter world, having a death match in Heaven's Arena, that in of itself is going to raise the chapter rating. So that being said, I'm done. Once again, it's going to be a great plus chapter rating, and I will see you guys and gals later. King Lightning, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace! Have a nice goddamn day.